Before I help you with the question number 4 that you were struggling with, I thought I'd look through here, and I can see that on question 2 you also didn't finish this one. So this we actually covered in class, but on May 2nd, this lady books a trip, and you're exactly right, there's no journal entry made because there's no cash that changes hands. But on May 7th, the fishing tour occurs, and they ask that payment be made within 30 days. So they're not going to get the money today, so they're going to put that in accounts receivable, which is exactly what you have down here. So that part is perfect. In fact, they've even made service revenue. I'm not sure where you got the 211, but if you can look up here, they're going to charge $220 a person, and she goes both herself and 4 friends, so that's 5. So if you take $220 times 5, but then take a 15% discount, that's the amount that you're going to enter in right there. And again, on May 9th, she's pissed off because nobody caught a fish. So on May 9th, you're right, there's no journal entry there. But then it says, upon deeper investigation, get it, it's a deep sea fishing trip. Then they discovered that her tour guide was pretty new, and so they're going to give her a 40% discount. So now on the 15th, that's when we have to enter in that 40% discount. So the amount that we've got to figure out is this 220 times 5 people less the 15% discount. We're going to take that amount and multiply it times the 40%. And that is the amount that's going to go in here as well as here. Now, if that means they don't owe it, and this was the amount that they owed, then the credit is going to be the accounts receivable, right? And the other part is going to go to sales allowance. All right. If you need kind of a reminder of like where we're at and you want to look this up, I actually found it in the ebook over here, and this is under the net revenue. So we're dealing with trade discounts, sales returns, sales allowances, sales discounts. So I'm not sure. It looks like it's on page 230. So I kind of want you to go back through here and read this stuff, because it will tell you exactly what the journal entries are and what the thought process is behind it. Okay, so that is there. And then on the 20th, she pays for the whole trip, less deducting the amount of the sales allowance. But remember, I think somewhere up here, Charlene pays for the tour. Does she get a discount? Yes, she gets a 4% discount if she pays within 15 days. So not only did we take the 220 times 5, we lessen that by 15%. Then she gets a 40% discount because nobody caught any fish. And whatever that amount is, then we get a 4% discount for paying on time. And that's what goes down here. Okay? So on the 20th, you're going to obviously receive some cash in. You're going to take some of the amount out of the accounts receivable because we're not going to pay the full amount. And then the other part will go towards the cash discounts. That's the account that gets the credit. Okay? And you'll be able to see that when you look back into the book and maybe even the PowerPoints, because we talked about it there. And this question 5-8 has to do with the allowance for doubtful accounts or the allowance for estimated accounts. So I went ahead and looked up the ebook, and you can see this is part B. It's on page 236. I actually didn't know where it was, so I went to chapter 5, and I went to the part about credit sales, estimating uncollectibles, right? And that's where we are. So here's the allowance method, and it shows you your entries that you need to make here and what the amounts are. So I think if you refer back to there, that's on page 237, you're going to be able to answer this one no problem. Okay. Now the real reason you were asking me questions was about this preparing for the bank reconciliation. So this one is, you've actually done really well. You figured out all of the things that the bank didn't know, and we adjusted for that, and then all the things that the company didn't know, and so we adjusted for that, so that was perfect. Then we come down here, and you've got the rent expense. Where did that come from? Well, that was from up here. An automatic withdrawal for the rent was made for blah blah blah, right? We've got all of that, and I think, you know, and all these other answers are right. So what was that $800 for, right? the $800, let's see. There was one check that was wrong. Okay, so I've checked this out, and I realized that what the problem was over here is that it said check 323 was written for $2,500 for advertising in February. The bank properly recorded it at $2,500, but check number 323 in our records was only for $1,700. So we have the amount right down here. I think you have $800, but remember that check was originally written for advertising expenses. So right over here for advertising. So what we need to do is just put advertising expense here. So I'll show you the correct answer. There's your advertising expense for $800. Okay, I hope that helps.